The President of the United States just posted the most unhinged, most profane, most openly threatening statement any sitting American president has ever made toward a foreign government on Easter Sunday from the White House, on social media, with profanity. And the deadline he set is not in days, it is not in weeks, it is in hours. I am Michael Turner. And before I tell you what happens next, I need you to hear exactly what Trump said, because reading a summary of this statement is not enough. You need to hear the actual words. Trump posted this on his Truth Social account on Easter Sunday evening. Quote, "Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the blank Strait, you crazy bastards, or you will be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah." End quote. That is the statement, verbatim, unedited. The President of the United States used profanity, called Iranian leaders bastards, promised they would be living in hell, set a specific deadline, tonight, and signed off by mocking their religion with praise be to Allah, invoking Islamic language to taunt a Muslim nation while threatening to destroy their country's infrastructure. No American president has ever communicated with a hostile nation this way, not in public, not on social media, not with this language, not with this tone, not with this level of raw, unfiltered personal rage broadcast to the entire world on Easter Sunday. Let me tell you exactly what Power Plant Day and Bridge Day mean, because Trump is not speaking metaphorically. He is not exaggerating for effect. He has been planning this for weeks. The Pentagon has assigned strike packages to specific targets. And tonight, at 8 p.m. Eastern, if Iran has not reopened the Strait of Hormuz, those packages execute. Power Plant Day. Iran has approximately 85 major power generation facilities across the country, thermal plants fired by natural gas, hydroelectric dams on major rivers, the Bushehr nuclear facility, renewable installations. These facilities together provide electricity to every city, every town, every hospital, every school, every home in Iran. When you destroy them all simultaneously, what follows is not an inconvenience. What follows is a collapse of every system that keeps 88 million people alive in the modern sense of that word. Hospitals go dark within minutes of losing power. Every patient on a ventilator, every person in surgery, every infant in a neonatal intensive care unit is immediately in crisis. Backup generators run for hours, maybe a day if the fuel holds, and then they run out, and the patients who needed power to survive do not survive. Water treatment plants shut down. Desalination facilities stop. Pumping stations go offline. The water that does reach taps is untreated, contaminated. And when 88 million people have no choice but to drink contaminated water, the diseases that follow kill not with bombs, but with biology, cholera, typhoid, dysentery. They move through a population silently, killing the children first, killing the elderly first, killing anyone whose body is already under stress from fear and cold and hunger. Refrigeration stops. Every hospital blood bank, every vaccine storage facility, every food stockpile, and every grocery store and warehouse across the country gone within 24 hours of losing power. Food spoils, medicine becomes useless. The cold chain that keeps a modern health system functioning breaks completely. Communication networks collapse. Cell towers lose power. Internet infrastructure goes down. Broadcast facilities go dark. 88 million people in the middle of a war, in the dark, unable to call their families, unable to access news, unable to know what is happening in their own city or their own street, isolated, afraid, with no information and no way to get any. That is Power Plant Day, Bridge Day. Iran is a mountainous country crisscrossed by rivers and valleys. Its transportation network depends on thousands of bridges connecting cities, allowing goods to move, enabling people to travel. Destroy the bridges, and you do not just stop vehicles. You sever the arteries of a society. Food cannot move from where it is grown to where people eat. Medicine cannot move from warehouses to hospitals. Fuel cannot reach the generators that might otherwise keep a few critical systems running. Cities become islands. Populations become trapped. Supply chains that were already stressed by 38 days of bombing become non-functional. And Trump is promising to do both simultaneously. Power plants and bridges, all wrapped up in one, in a single day, tonight. This is not a military campaign aimed at degrading Iran's ability to fight. This is the deliberate, systematic, publicly announced destruction of everything that makes Iran capable of functioning as a society. And Trump is bragging about it, is promising there will be nothing like it, is posting it on social media with profanity and mockery while the world watches in horror. The International Committee of the Red Cross responded within hours. The president of the ICRC issued a statement saying that deliberate threats against essential civilian infrastructure and nuclear facilities must not become the new norm in warfare. The Red Cross did not name Trump directly. They did not need to. Everyone on Earth with access to the internet knew exactly who and what they were responding to. The European Union president issued a statement warning that escalation will not achieve a ceasefire and that targeting civilian infrastructure is wrong. EU foreign policy officials are in emergency sessions. European governments are drafting coordinated responses. The word that is being used in closed-door diplomatic discussions across Brussels, Berlin, Paris, and London is war crime, not allegation, not concern. The legal term, war crime. And Iran responded immediately. The official spokesman for the Iranian president called Trump's post a reaction of sheer desperation and anger, said Trump is panicking because 38 days of the most intensive bombing campaign conducted by any military in recent history has not forced Iran to surrender, has not reopened Hormuz, has not broken Iranian resistance. And now Trump is lashing out with profanity and threats on Easter Sunday because nothing else has worked. Iran's position on Hormuz has not changed. The Strait will open, Iranian officials say, when the damage caused by this war is compensated, when a new legal framework is established under which ships pay transit fees that go to Iran as reparations for what has been done to the country. That is Iran's terms, not negotiable. Not movable by threats, not affected by power plant day or bridge day or any other deadline Trump sets. And Iran's Central Military Command issued a warning. If attacks on civilian targets are carried out, the next stages of Iran's offensive and retaliatory operations will be much more devastating and widespread. Iran is promising to match escalation with escalation. Trump destroys power plants. Iran strikes American bases and allied energy infrastructure across the Gulf. Trump destroys bridges. Iran hits refineries in Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Kuwait. Trump goes to all hell. Iran brings all hell to everything American and American allied in the region. This is the logic of mutual destruction. Both sides daring the other to go further. Both sides betting the other will blink. Now let me tell you what is actually happening diplomatically. Because behind the profanity and the threats and the defiance, there are people who are desperately trying to prevent tonight from becoming the worst night of this war. Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey jointly presented a ceasefire proposal to both sides. It is detailed, it is specific, and it represents the most serious peace effort anyone has made since this war began. The proposal calls for a 45-day ceasefire, an immediate halt to all military operations. The United States and Israel stop bombing Iran. Iran stops launching missiles at Israel and Gulf states. Both sides freeze in place. No new attacks, no escalation for 45 days. During those 45 days, serious negotiations begin, mediated by Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey, with the goal of reaching a permanent peace agreement. The proposal also includes a gradual reopening of the Strait of Hormuz during the ceasefire period, not immediately, but progressively, with full reopening by the end of the 45 days. In exchange, the United States pauses infrastructure strikes, halts the bombing campaign, and engages in good faith talks. This is a workable framework. Both sides get something. Trump gets Hormuz reopening. Iran gets a ceasefire and a path to negotiations. The world gets 45 days of reduced oil market chaos. And the humanitarian situation in Iran stops getting worse for a month and a half while diplomats work. But both sides have reservations that reveal exactly what each side actually wants from this war. Iran's foreign ministry says a temporary ceasefire is not enough. Iran fears the United States will use 45 days to pause, rearm, resupply, gather intelligence, and then resume bombing with even greater intensity. Iran wants a permanent end, wants binding guarantees, wants full compensation established in a legal framework before Hormuz opens a single centimeter. Iran does not trust that a ceasefire leads to peace. Iran believes it leads to a better armed second phase of American attack. Trump has not publicly endorsed the proposal, has not said yes, has not engaged with the mediator's framework in any public statement. Instead, on Easter Sunday night, he posted Power Plant Day and Bridge Day and profanity and mockery. That is Trump's response to the peace proposal. Not engagement, not counteroffer, not even acknowledgement, just threats. And that tells you something important about what Trump actually wants from tonight. Trump is not trying to open negotiations. Trump is trying to force unconditional Iranian surrender before negotiations begin. He wants Iran to capitulate first, to open Hormuz as a sign of submission, and then Trump will dictate terms. That is not how Iran will accept peace, and both sides know it. So the mediators are caught between an Iran that wants permanent guarantees and a Trump who wants visible submission, and neither is available for the other. Meanwhile, while diplomats scramble and deadlines approach, the war has continued without pause. Israel struck Iran's Jamdanovan petrochemical complex, the largest petrochemical facility in the country. Israeli Defense Minister Katz announced that the Jamdanovan facilities, which together account for 85% of Iran's petrochemical exports, have been rendered inoperative. Petrochemicals are Iran's second largest export after oil. They generate tens of billions of dollars annually, revenue that funds Iran's military, pays fighters, manufactures missiles, supports proxy forces, and Israel just eliminated 85% of that revenue stream in a single strike. Combined with the Hormuz closure cutting off oil exports, Iran's economy is being strangled from every direction simultaneously, and yet Iran is still fighting, still launching missiles, still keeping Hormuz closed. The humanitarian situation is deteriorating in ways that should be impossible to look away from, even though most of the coverage is focused on the deadlines and the threats and the profanity. More than 2,000 Iranians have been killed since this war began. More than 26,000 wounded. In the last 24 hours alone, at least 34 people killed, including 6 children. Strikes continue across Tehran, Mashhad, Isfahan, Shiraz, Tabriz. The World Health Organization reports that 13 Iranian health facilities have been struck since the war began. 13 hospitals and clinics, places where doctors try to save lives, hit by bombs and missiles. In Lebanon, 11 more people killed by Israeli strikes in the last 24 hours, including a 4-year-old girl. More than 1,497 Lebanese killed since the start of the conflict. In Israel, Iranian missiles continue falling. A residential building in Haifa struck. Emergency responders pulling people from rubble. A high school in Tel Aviv damaged. Families spending another night in shelters. Another night of sirens. This is what the reality behind the headlines looks like. And tonight, if Trump follows through, if Power Plant Day and Bridge Day happen, the humanitarian situation in Iran does not deteriorate gradually. It collapses immediately, completely, in the dark. Now I want to be very direct about the 3 options Trump has at 8 p.m. tonight and what each one means for the next chapter of this war, because this is the most important decision point this conflict has produced, and the American public deserves to understand it clearly. Option 1, Trump follows through completely. At 8 p.m., the full campaign launches. 85 power plants targeted simultaneously. Every major bridge in Iran's transportation network struck. Iran goes dark within hours. The humanitarian catastrophe begins. International condemnation is immediate, unified, and unprecedented in its severity. European allies who have been quietly supportive or neutral move publicly against the United States. The UN Security Council convenes an emergency session. Countries begin discussing sanctions against America, not Iran. And Iran, which loses nothing militarily from losing its power plants because Iran's military capabilities are already severely degraded, retaliates with everything it has left against American bases and allied infrastructure across the Gulf. The war expands, the region burns, and the suffering on every side reaches levels that make the past 38 days look restrained. Option 2, Trump extends the deadline. At 8 p.m., a new post appears on Truth Social. Negotiations proceeding. Pakistan requests additional time, giving Iran another opportunity. New deadline in 72 hours or a week or whenever. This option keeps the humanitarian catastrophe from happening tonight, keeps diplomacy technically alive. But it does something to Trump's standing with every adversary watching this war that cannot be undone. Every future American threat is now explicitly discounted. Every future deadline is now understood to be negotiable. And Iran's position hardens immediately because Iran now knows with certainty that Trump cannot deliver on his threats. So Hormuz stays closed. Iran keeps fighting, and the war drags towards something neither side can control. Option 3. Limited strikes framed as power plant day and bridge day. Some targets hit, but not all. Enough destruction to claim follow-through, not enough to trigger the full international and Iranian response. This is the face-saving middle path, and it is the worst of all options in one specific way. It tells Iran exactly how far Trump is actually willing to go. It reveals the ceiling, and Iran, knowing the ceiling, knows it can operate below that ceiling indefinitely. Limited strikes become the new normal. The war becomes a permanent managed conflict that serves no one and ends nothing. All three options are bad. Trump painted himself into this corner on Easter Sunday with profanity and mockery and a deadline set in hours. And now he has to live in the corner he built. At 1 p.m. today, Trump holds a press conference about the Easter miracle rescue of the downed F-15 weapons systems officer. He will praise the military. He will use that success to project strength. He will almost certainly say something about tonight's deadline. And whether he sounds confident or whether he sounds like a man looking for a face-saving exit will tell you a great deal about what 8 p.m. looks like. Because the rescue was real. The capability it demonstrated is real. American special forces going deep into Iranian territory, fighting their way in, fighting their way out, bringing one injured colonel home without losing a single American. That is real, and it matters. It shows what the U.S. military can do when it commits to a mission. But Power Plant Day and Bridge Day is not a mission. It is a threat posted on social media on Easter Sunday with profanity. And there is a fundamental difference between the disciplined, precise, operationally sound execution of a rescue mission and the rage-filled, publicly announced, internationally condemned promise to destroy an entire nation's civilian infrastructure because a foreign government will not comply with a demand made on social media. One is American military power at its best. The other is something else entirely. I am Michael Turner, and tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, one of three things happens. Trump follows through, and this war becomes something history will struggle to name properly. Trump blinks, and his threats lose all meaning permanently. Or something happens in the next several hours in the diplomacy that neither side has publicly acknowledged is working, that gives both sides a way out, that is not a defeat for either. Any of those outcomes changes everything. Subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because I will be covering the 8 p.m. deadline in real time. The moment we know what Trump chose, the moment Iran responds, the moment the world understands what this war has become and what it will cost. Tell me in the comments, does Trump follow through tonight, or does the deadline slide again? And if he does follow through, what happens to the 88 million people who will wake up tomorrow without power? I will see you in the next update.